email to Shelton a week or two ago, and he's reflected upon it, and he's going to answer for us, and then we're going to open up the evening to y'all. So the audience can respond, ask questions, make comments. The rest of the evening is yours. So.
Who's that now?
Okay, I'm going to be like very open and free.
No. I know listen up now. I need to
All right. All right. See, we both got hyper. See,
yeah.
I said earlier, I got hyper. That was in front of y'all, I got hyper. Or more tired now. I got hyper. Okay. So, let's see. So, a question for you, Shelton. How do you see disclosure of HIV status or sexual orientation or sexual orientation to be empowering?
For me personally, disclosure of my HIV status and my homosexuality just lets people know that I am who I am. And I have this attitude that this is who I am. Take it or leave it, and your feelings are your feelings, basically. That's just. I have to do it that way for me because I refuse to let other people. I refuse to give other people power over me. When you take on other people's issues, you give them power over you, and I just refuse to do that.
And so, thank you. And that all these questions are for everyone to think and reflect upon, and to respond to in a moment, which Shelton's done, if you wish. Our second question is, how does racism, or how do you see racism impacting the coming out process for Black, gay, and bisexual men?
For me, really, racism is an internal thing because I see racism within the Black community, especially going to an HBCU at Morgan. Like I said, I felt like the only out Black gay person on campus, and there are people walking around campus. There are guys walking around campus with pocketbooks bigger than the girls, but they all talk about their girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, you can at least, if you want to do that, at least like fake it or something. Do a little better than that. So I see, all of my problems with racism have always been within the Black community, and it's just, and that's has a lot to do with the church because the Black community is so focused on the church, and the church some churches refuse to acknowledge the fact, that homosexuality is not a sin and all the other stuff. So, when the church says, a man can cheat on his wife and do all that stuff, he'll be forgiven, but he can't be gay. People pretend, people believe the church. R. Kelly, perfect example. Perfect example. He got an award from Less Than Little Girl.
Wow.
Right. Exactly. But in the end, the boy, he's not a
I think,
he's a brilliant songwriter, but he's a pedophile.
am I thinking of asking that particular question of you? I was thinking of my own coming out experience in that the only images I saw, like I remember when I came out, or I was thinking about coming out, and Ellen DeGeneres had her TV show or whatever. And it was this Ellen, and everyone made a big deal, like, Ellen came out, her TV show, and all that stuff. And I just looked and I thought, oh, this is a white woman who came out as a lesbian, who has money, who's on TV. Like this, it didn't make any sense to me. And then I thought, that's racism. That's racist. That's racist. I don't see no images of me. And so coming out for me seemed less of an option. To come out for what? To come out for what? I can hang out with Ellen. So, that's what I was
thinking. I've never been one to, white people have, in general, have always been very responsive to me in every aspect. So it's, I don't see it as, a white versus black thing, because I'm like, I'm accepting of everybody. And pretty much people are accepting of me, and like I said, you ain't, that's your issue, not mine. So I just refuse to, let other people, say, it's the white person, this and stuff like that. understand that, but in that you still have to learn how to work within the system and work and circumvent the system.
Right. Well, the white man decided what time it should happen. Because white people make clocks. So white people make clocks. Actually, we do really know. The third question is, as a black gay man, how were you impacted by the lack, and this may not be true for your experience, but the lack of positive black male role models in your life? Or how do you see that impacting black, gay, and bisexual men?
I didn't see too many positive black gay role models. I mean, my boss in New Jersey, his name is Gary Fulbright, he was my role model. He was the guy that I looked up to. He was the, executive director of this, this place for black gay people to come. So he was a role model for me. So he kind of took me under his wing and taught me everything he knew and kind of like set me loose into the world. But there weren't any, so I just had to, that's why I just set out to become one. My thing is, lead by example. That's my reaction.
So the fourth question for you is, how do you deal with the 3 L's, being love, lust, and loneliness? How do you do it? I want you to read some too, so
those are biggies for me, especially after I broke up with my second partner. Those were just biggies for me. I mean, just to be alone for the first time in Christmas on a Christmas day in 8 years, it was tremendously impactful on my life, and it was just like, this is so lonely. So I went out into the world trying to fill that void of loneliness with sex, and then the sex got boring, and it wasn't as filling as it used to be. And I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. So now I need to adapt again. Like, all right, and that's when I went to the question of, do I need another person? And that's actually in a nutshell what the third book is about. It's called The Dawn of the New Day, and it just encompasses, going from loneliness to just wild, crazy sex, trying to fill that void of loneliness and it not doing the job. So you have to look within yourself and go, okay, that's not working. So what am I missing?
Did you come to any conclusions around that question of, do you need someone else to complete your life? Or is that just the book?
I came to the realization that I can function as a solitary being in life. I want somebody to share conflict. But the question of, can I do it by myself? Yes, I can do it by myself. I've proven that to myself that I can do it.
Actually, and relating to that question, I wanted you to read this poem, which was my favorite poem from the chapter 2.
Actually, no.
Acceptance.
Which is good. This is.
But it's also in your
right. This is the preview from the third book. This is in the third book. It's called All the Wrong Places. This one is it's basically describes. I went to some guy's house and it was strictly on the hookup thing, and we had this long conversation about man trafficking status, and he still wanted to have unprotected sex, and I was just like, didn't we just have that conversation? And his response to me was, well, that's my choice. And I'm like,